We're going to have a climate here that is going to have deeper droughts. We're going to have less of a snowpack. We're going to have more floods. And the issue is that we've built our water systems this past 20th century for a hydrology and models that we really saw a narrow slice of when it comes to the full climate that we're going to experience, especially here into the 21st century.
California has a history of overusing the amount of water available in order to conduct infrastructure projects. During its industrial period, California experienced a rare wet period that could sustain the use of large amounts of water. Until 1913, Owens Lake was full of water. Then, it was drained to supply the Los Angeles Aqueduct.
The term water wars gets thrown around, and the tensions that can build between urban centers and then more rural agricultural communities that are dependent on the delivery of agricultural water, and the tension that can happen between all of that is very, it's obvious.
The California drought has extensive impacts on all groups of people. The main concern is that a continual increase in hot temperatures, along with the decreased amount of snow and rain due to climate change, puts the state's water resources in serious jeopardy. More specifically, snow accounts for around 30% of the state's water supply. Typically, the California Department of Water Resources conducts its snow surveys at the beginning of each month. However, the survey itself was canceled at Phillips Station due to the lack of snow by the start of May 2021. There was simply not enough to study. In addition, due to an increase in evaporation and less rain, upstream reservoirs are being drained below critical levels, thus endangering the drinking water supply for 25 million Californians and irrigation supply for nearly 3 million acres of farmland. As of January 2021, 95% of California was in moderate drought. Of that, nearly 40% was in extreme drought. The situation was so dire that in early 2021, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a drought state of emergency. He took executive action to consider emergency regulations for water supply. But these restrictions are not without opposition. Farmers across the state are speaking out against these water restrictions, with signs reading, "No water, no jobs," and "No water equals higher food costs." Similar tensions were felt during the Dust Bowl of 1930 when the Drought Relief Service was created. In fact, some call the California drought a modern-day Dust Bowl.
Water regulations are necessary, and it doesn't mean you just step in on day one with this big hammer, but that has to be that backstop. We also have learned, and even COVID we learned, trying to do a one-size-fits-all in a state as large and diverse as California is not the right way to go.
Like many other issues in America, the water crisis and more generally climate change has become politicized. After months of heated, divisive debates in U.S. Congress, President Biden's Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was passed on November 5th of 2021 with some water-related investments.
So through the Department of Interior, there's several $1 billion for water infrastructure, which sounds like a lot. It'll go fast because we have aging water infrastructure throughout the country and especially in the western states. To put it into context, in the budget that was finalized in September at the state level, we had over $5 billion for water infrastructure and an additional $15 billion for climate and drought and wildfires.
On a global scale, climate change needs to be faced at full strength now. For the past few years, many major industrial nations have made empty promises and false calls for actions. This year, 197 countries joined together at the 26th Annual Conference of the Parties in Scotland to discuss Green Deals. Although many countries agreed to transition to a more eco-friendly way of life, not enough was done.
And what are the investments we need to be making in our watershed, whether it's in groundwater recharge, whether it's in water recycling? It's really about really tracking those drops and being honest with ourselves that climate change here has really shifted the systems that we're all here, also dependent upon. So many of the effects of climate change most is the deficits in hydrology, the droughts, the bigger, flashier floods, and those droughts leading to then things like wildfire because of the landscapes are so dry, and we're having then more catastrophic wildfires that have impacts on water quality.
There are solutions. On a larger scale, governments can help by passing water regulations, enacting climate change policies, and implementing water recycling projects. Individually, every day, citizens can do two main things. 1. Vote for representatives that will fight for a healthy California, and 2. Conserve water. From taking shorter showers to limiting the irrigation of lawns to even collecting rainwater, we can all make a difference.